So in this chapter, we learn how to design pages. So we learn how to adjust the margins, change the line spacing, section the document, create a table of contents, design headers, footers, control page breaking, and set footnotes. So let's get started with later. So let's start by writing a book. So, document class. And let's use maybe A4 paper. If we don't specify anything in this optional argument, then it treats the US letter size automatically. So instead of article, we'll put a book. And then let's use the package. English. And the package name is Babel. And then let's use a package for blind text. So this is just text that is being generated automatically. But you can create your own text. You don't need this package if you're using your own text. So the first part, as we spoke earlier, this is your preamble. Now let's go to begin document. And let's use chapter. Exploring page layout. And then just write a statement. We are studying about the layout of pages. And then let's do a section. Some filler text. And let's generate the blind text. So since we have the package, some text will be generated over here. And then let's create a different section. A lot more filler text. So these are just names per sections. You can create your own, like if you were in a chapter, you would create different sections and different expressions within the page. So this is just showing you how these texts and these sections would be created. Okay, so let's just say more dummy text. Again, we are using blind text, so it's going to generate. And now if you want a subsection, so we'll call it the subsection. So what are we calling it? Plenty of filler text, let's say. And let's put blind text again. Let's say we have 10. Okay, and then let's end the document. So let's see what all happened. In the first section, we used a book document class. Now, what the book document class does is it tries to create a book format. So books are commonly two-sided and consist of chapters which usually start at right-hand pages. They may also have front matter with one or more title pages and a back matter with bibliography. So the book class supports all of these things. So you'll have front matter, title pages, back matter, bibliography, index, everything. Then we use the Babel package. Now the Babel package just is useful for typesetting. You can use any other language. So some languages that we could use for English language are US English. We could use American. We could use British. We could use English. We could use Canadian. We could use Australian. We could use New Zealand. And we can use UK English. So the spellings, everything will change. If there's hyphenation, it's going to use it, and so on. And then we used blind text. As I stated earlier, blind text is just random text that it picks up. And then we use the chapter, which produces a large heading. And then the section command, which produces the second sectioning level and generates a smaller heading. Then the chapter heading. And it's the sections are numbered per chapter. So if you were doing a book on a subject, you could easily use the chapter number to create these sections. Okay, and then we have the subsection followed by more dummy text. And you can also use other dummy text if you'd like. Okay. So if you look at the book design, let's, I'm just going to put a draw page. So the book's writing is maybe put in this space, more like this. So if you see, there's the right margin, which has more space. And then you have the left margin. At the bottom, you have the page number. And at the top, you have the chapter name and so on. You'll see that the top is more broader than the bottom, and the left is more narrower than the right margin. And the reason is, if you have a book, you don't want your, so if you have a book, and this is your second page when it's open, you don't want the right margin coinciding with the left margin. So you'll see the two pages written like this, something like this. So then the left and the right do not merge between the two pages. Therefore, you want to keep the gap bigger on the right margin. Okay. Now, if you'd like to specify margins yourself, then we'll use this package called geometry. So you would put this in the preamble, okay? So you'll use the package and you'll describe it. So let's say A4 paper, inner. Now you're creating the dimensions, okay, for this. Outer is your right side, inner is your left side. Top is 2 cm, let's say. Bottom is 3 cm. So now your page will be designed this way. And binding offset let's say 1 cm. And you close this and let's open the package geometry. Now if you use this, your page will design this way. Your writing will come in this space that you're describing. So geometry provides several options to set the paper size and the orientation. So first you can put the paper name. Like for example, paper A4 paper. You could also abbreviate it like executive letter paper, legal paper, A0 paper, A6 paper, B0 paper, and so on. And then you've got things like the paper width. Like let's say 7 inches. Paper height, let's say 10 inches. So that will describe what the paper looks like. And then paper size would be the width and height. So these are options maybe you may have to use at some point. Okay. So you could write paper size is equal to 7 inch and 10 inch. And then if you want landscape, you can change the paper orientation to landscape mode. You can even change it to portrait mode. So a few changes you can make onto it. Then with the text area, you can make changes like text width. Let's say 140 mm. Text height. And let's put these in small so that we are writing it in the actual. So if you notice, everything's written in small, okay? 180 mm. Lines, how many lines you want on the page? Let's say 25, right? And include head causes the header of the page to be included into the body area. Normally that's set by default, include head. And similarly, you can include foot. Okay, again, it's included in the body area, but it's set false by default. But if you need it, you could put include foot and include head. And remember, whenever we write something, we space it. But in LaTeX, we do not space anything. So write the word together, okay? Then if you want to set margins, setting margins. So you could do left is 2 cm. This is for your right set. And then for the inner or outer set, you could do inner is 2 cm. You could do top as 25 mm and so on. Two-sided, two side switches to two-sided mode. And then you've got the binding offset, which reserves space on the left margin. Okay? Sorry, binding offset. So let's say we wanted to increase the spacing between the lines. So we can use this package. Use package 1/2 spacing. and the package name is set space. So if we do this in the preamble, you'll see 1/2 spacing between lines. If you wanted to use double spacing, you could use double spacing. So there's single spacing, which is the default if you use set space. And then there's 1/2 spacing. And then there's double spacing. Again, as I keep reiterating, put these words together when you're writing the code. Okay? And then you can even begin spacing wherever you require it. Like, for example, begin. So if you want to begin spacing to stretch it, right? So, sorry. Let's do begin spacing by 2.4. So everything, the text is going to get stretched by a factor. The text will be stretched by 2.4 times as much. And then end your spacing. So if you want to create 2 columns, documents. So this is what you would do. Document class. And let's say if you were doing the same A4 paper, 12 point, landscape, 2 column. And let's say book. Right? So you can typeset this document accordingly. So in Latex, the base classes are as follows. So we've used the article. We are currently using the book. You could get a report. So if you used document class report, and then slides and letter. So to create slides, you could also use Beamer and PowerDot. These are 2 newer rich classes that we use. And then paper sizes, some of the options are so these are some of the options in the base class. Now let's create a table of contents. So again, let's go to document class. A4, 12 point. Let's create a book. So let's use the same package. English, Babel, and let's use package. Now we are using blind text. We don't need to use that if we are creating our text. Okay. Use package. A4 paper, inner 1.5 cm, outer 3 cm, top 2 cm, bottom 3 cm, binding offset 1 cm, and all of this is in the geometry package. Begin document. And obviously, when you're writing a book, you can keep increasing your table of contents and things. You'll keep modifying as your book progresses. So the first thing after begin would be table of contents. And then we'll put the chapter, whatever the name. Let's say exploring page layout. And then whatever we want to write, study layout, pages. And then we'll put some blind text or maybe create a section. Let's name it filler. And let's put in some blind text. Now in the previous case, we had another section, a subsection. That's up to you if you want to put the subsection. Let's just put it subsection so that you get enough practice of how to create these more text. And blind text, maybe 10 lines. And then end the document. So if you see your program, see the difference between when we put the table of contents and when we do not put the table of contents. Okay? So let's use how to customize or design headers and footers. Okay? So we'll learn how to design headers and footers. So again, let's do the document class. A4 paper. And book. Use English. Use package English. Sorry, in English, but in Babel is the package name, okay? And then we'll use the package blind text. Now we'll add another thing to this. Use package fancy header. Okay? And we'll assign fancy HF. Then fancy head add E. Left mark, fancy head, RO, no uppercase, right mark. And then fancy foot. The page. And then let's use a page style. Now this is all the preamble if you notice. We haven't begun the document. So then we'll go to begin document. and end document. And we can put in sections and chapters and things inside. So now if you look at a few things that we've marked over here, see it's a different color. So we use fancy HF. So this command right here, it clears the header and the footer. So it creates a space, but it doesn't put anything over there. Okay. And then we've got the left mark on the fancy head. So normally the left mark uses capital letters as your default. Okay. And similarly your right mark is used for to store the section title. This stores the chapter title. And this also uses capital letters. Okay, so if you put that, you'll see the chapter name and the section name. And then we used fancy head with the optional LE to put the chapter title into the header. And we've used LE so that it shows on the left. Okay. And then analogous to this command, we have the fancy head with RO to put the section title in the right odd, and means that the section heading shall be displayed on right side of the header on odd paged numbers. So if you have this as your setting for your book, so your chapter name would come here and your section would come here on the right side. And then we used fancy foot to display the page number in the footer right here. And we used LE and RO that showed the page number on even as well as odd pages, and always on the outer side. Okay. All those commands are used to modify page style provided by fancy header right here and right here. These are connected. The style is called fancy. We had to tell Latex to use this style, and we did it through page style fancy. Understanding page styles. So there are 4 page styles that Latex uses. There's empty. So no header, no footer is used. Then there's plain. So there's no header or footer. Plain has no header. You'll just have page number will be printed and centered in the footer. And then you've got headings. So the header contains title of pages, of chapters, sections, subsections, depending on the class and also the page number. The footer is empty in this one. And then my headings. And again, you just use small. Even if I've written a capital letter, just change it to small. So the header contains a user-defined text and the page number. The footer is empty. And then you've got fancy header, which fancy is the page style. Both header and footer can be customized. So you can make changes to this. By user. And then two commands may be used to choose the page style. So page style and a name like fancy in the previous case. Again, everything's with small letter. So this switches to the page style name from this point onwards. And then we've got this page style. And name. So this page style will only use it currently. Used currently. This is used onwards. So for headers and footers, you can always use this for the header. You'll see a notation and the similarity in the notation. So L head, C head, and R head. Now similarly for the footer, you can have L foot, because you're doing the foot. And then C foot, and you've got R foot. So this will give you this will move your positioning to either the left, center, or the right part of the head. And then you can also use other commands like fancy head and your code slash your text. Not slash, but in the parentheses, no, in the curly brackets. And for the footer, you would do fancy foot. And your code, and then your text. And some symbols and their meanings that you would like to remember. Left, easy stuff, but it's essential to know what these mean and how you can design your page. So if you'd like to use decorative lines in your header or footer, you can use a renew command option. Try this, how it works. You use the head rule width. And put a value for the width. Let's say 1 pt or 0.5 mm. And if you don't want something, you just put 0 pt. The default is 0.4 pt. So if you change that setting, then you'll see the changes as needed. And same thing, if you wanted to make the change in the footer, you'd go to foot rule width and width. The default for the footer is 0 pt. 0 point. Okay. So renew command works similar to new command. But renew command is something that's already existent. So you're renewing something that's already there. So there has to be a command before that you're trying to renew. Okay? So a new command is completely new. A renew command is something that you're renewing. Okay. So if we wanted to change the header marks, so mark right head. Now this creates the right heading. If you want mark both, then that's the left head. And again, right head. Now this will change both headings. Okay? So this is one way to do it. So let's talk about this command, page break. Try page break in your document and see how it works. So you'll notice that page break is similar to line break. And new page works more or less like new line. Something, a new line for pages instead of lines. And then there's commands like no page break, which is analogous to maybe no line break. And then there is a similar command like clear page. That works like new page. And then if you want clear double page, this would be useful when you're creating books. If you want your text to start from the right hand page. Like if you'll see some books are created in such a way that all the chapters begin on the right page. And you can easily use this command to create an effect out of the preamble. If you would like to enlarge a page, one way is to use the geometry package and enlarge the page. Okay, so for example, if I were using package and my optional arguments are these. And again, this will all be all part of the preamble. So try this and see what it does to your settings. And again, a lot of the settings You'll notice when you print compared to on your screen, depending on so the package name is geometry. So add this to your document and see what it does. Now to enlarge the page, after the subsection line or section line, put this. So wherever you see section or subsection, whatever code you have, add this to it. Enlarge this page and baseline skip. And see what this does to your code. Now what this does is that you'll notice that the page enlarges to take more text in it. Okay? So you're just adding more lines to the page. So if you did the baseline skip, you could even do a number over here if you'd like. So you can put maybe a 2 in here to get 2 more lines on the page. If you put 3, you'll get 3 more lines. So this is just for additional squeezing of words or lines into the page if you require it. So if I want to add footnotes in text and in my headings, this is how I would do it. So now you already are using document class, and let's say you're making an article or a book and you're using the package Babel, and you're using English, right? And you're using the package for blind text, but this is only to fill stuff. If you're writing your own document, you don't need blind text. And then let's begin this document, right? And further down, I'll put end document. So you're aware of this thing. And then let's call the chapter designing pages. And fill some text, just say exploring or something. Then you create a subsection. Let's create a section before. So we've already got this part. And let's say if I want to add more dummy text, right? And now put footnote. And what do you want it to show? Serving as a placeholder. See what happens. And then you could create subsections, you could create more blind text, and then your footnote will appear if you see. Okay? Alright, so the footnote command looks more or less like this. So there's a footnote, and then the optional argument is the number. If you put this, then that number will be used, otherwise the Latex takes its own number and starts an internal counter. So if you put the first one, it's going to put the first number with it. And then it goes to the second one and third one and so on for that page. Okay? And all of the numbers are superscripted. So you'll see the footnote with the number on the top, like an exponent. So you'll see like whatever was your footer, and you'll see it on top. Okay? And then it will show like serving as a placeholder or whatever you've written for the footnote. And in your document, it will show this way, like under the word text, you'll see an exponent 1. Okay, so you'll see these things in your footnote. Now if you require a dividing line for the footnote, so if I added this to my preamble, add to preamble, so you'll do renew command, footnote rule, and then keep printing. Okay, I'm using the next line, but you write it on the same line if you have space. No indent, smash, and then let's put rule 3pt and backslash text width, and keep writing, okay, as you go along. 0.4 pt, and this will close with 3 of these. Now you'll see that when you'll put 0.4 pt, this is the thickness of the line. Okay, and this 3 pt will be what the text will be raised by this space. So you'll see your text might go from here at the bottom, so there's stuff at the bottom. It might go to maybe up here. Yeah? And if you want to omit that line completely, you can just use this command, renew command. Remember, renew command is for commands that are already present. Backslash footnote rule, and you put nothing in it. Okay, so this is how it would look like. And then we have more packages if you require. I'll list some over here if you use these. There's a list right here. They do other things to the footnote if you require it. So these will all be changes to your footnote. Okay.